Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening. Can we please start with a roll call?
Council President O'Halloran.
Here.
Councilmember Rivera.
Here.
Councilmember Albertson.
Here.
Councilmember Vaughn.
Here.
Councilmember Perez.
Here.
Councilmember Prince.
Here.
And Councilmember McIrvin.
Here.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all present.
All right, thank you. So first up, we're going to go right into the public hearing. It's the mid-biennium budget adjustment, and we have Carrie Roller here to present.
So much. Again, my name is Carrie Roller. I'm the finance administrator, and tonight we're doing a public hearing on the mid-biennial budget update. The purpose of the mid-biennial budget update is to set the property tax levy for next year. We have to pass an ordinance to set that levy. We also, at this time, look at our revenues that we projected in our biennial budget and make some adjustments halfway through that biennial budget. We have some housekeeping adjustments, some proposed departmental changes, and we will also be doing some fee schedule adjustments. The calendar that we have set back in September would be tonight is the first of two public hearings. The next will be next week. And so we are doing a public hearing on the amount that we're assessing for the property tax, do a revenue update, and just overall mid-biennial budget update. This is our property tax levy calculation that we're looking to assess for next year. Sorry, let's see here. The top part is how much that we could, that we're allowed to levy. So we could levy up to $41.4 million or even as high as $59 million. The city's been very mindful and conscientious about how much we assess on our property tax. So we're actually doing the lower amount of 25.8 this year. We are allowed to increase that 1%, the lesser of 1% of inflation. And so with inflation being over 1%, we are assessing just the 1% this year. The total amount of the levy is 25.8, or the estimated levy rate is about 96 cents. For our general fund revenues, we are looking to increase several of our revenues over the biennium, increase the revenues about $11.4 million, 9.4 for this year and $2 million for the next year. This is really to adjust any of those revenues that we're seeing coming in higher than we had anticipated when we set that budget. Next, we have a summary of expenditures we're looking to add for this year and next. We're looking to add some costs for some improvements overall within the city, increasing some to our stabilization fund, and making some other cost of living adjustments for next year. Besides the general fund, we have other adjustments to some of our other funds. We have over 40 funds here at the city of Renton. And so we're looking to make some adjustments to some improvements to our senior center. We also received numerous grants here at the city of Renton in the last year in regards to our facility and park improvements. So we're recognizing those within our budget. Some for our airport division, the Taxiway Alpha rehab project, as well as ecology grants for the surface water group. Part of this budget adjustment also includes adding our airport hangar and tie-down rental rates to our fee schedule that had not been included in the past. We're looking to update our transportation impact fees. And then we also collect fees on behalf of others. So we're looking to update our school impact fees and our fire impact and fire marshal fees for the Renton Regional Fire Authority. And with that, I will turn it back to you for the public comment.
Okay, thank you. We do have one person signed up virtually. And our voice in the...
Yes, we do. That is Holly Hill. Holly, go ahead.
Hello, this is Holly Hill. I live in the Highlands. Council member and mayor. A memo was posted for today's committee of the whole regarding proposed department recommendations in the budget. This memo proposes to move equity work to the executive office and human resources and reallocate the fund. Human resources seems like a better location for equity work instead of within the executive office. I do appreciate that the memo seems to place renewed interest and commitment to equity issues by elevating the commission to more direct relationship with the mayor and council. In the proposed 2024 general fund expenditures, there's no increase in funding for human services, and the reorganization memo eliminates one position. How will that translate to a more robust equity commission and human services? I want to see actual items that truly address equity in Renton. A few years ago, I tried desperately to find a list of minority contractors in Renton. I called the city and was told that the list doesn't exist. Why does Renton have a list of disabled and minority-owned businesses that we can access and refer dollars? This is a great action item for renewed equity commission and will help direct dollars to potentially underutilized Renton businesses. If these changes are approved, please direct more resources and productivity to addressing equity issues in Renton in a measurable way.
Okay, thank you very much. That was the last person we have signed up. Do we have any correspondence?
I received no correspondence, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. I do know that a couple of council members still have some questions left over from the committee of the whole. So we'll open it up for council members.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With the very ambitious plan of the new roles for the work that we are doing regarding equity in the city, I appreciate that it's going to be a lot of interdepartmental collaboration to get where we want to be, and I appreciate that. However, I appreciate the question of Councilmember McKervin about the follow-up on the list that Benita left, because the work that we did during 5 or 6 years that Benita was there was very intensive, and I think our mission statement is very clear about where the priorities of the city are regarding where are we in equity and inclusion. And what I appreciate is reorganization. Right now, it seems that there are many pieces in many areas, and I know that is very new. And I'm looking forward to hear more about how is this going to be driven in the future when you guys start working in different departments doing this. With that, I find that you guys are adding one position. It's a new position. It's the Parks and Recreation Coordinator. And this position was the administrator of the EHS. And in the memorandum, that I really appreciate the memorandum because it was very, very, very helpful. You say that you would convert this position to coordinator role. While I read some of the things that this person will be doing, say it will be cultural experience, it will enhance cultural experience celebrations in the Parks and Recreation departments, among others. This position went from 144 to 38 our general fund impact to 156 370. I assume that is increase in salary, so I will not call it convert. I will call it promotion. May I know what is the job description of this position and what is the justification for the increase of salary?
Good evening, Council. Mary Jane Van Cleve, currently the Equity Housing and Human Services Administrator and the Interim Administrator for Parks and Recreation. The justification for the position is to provide a position for that person if EHHS is to be dismantled and work is to be reappropriated and approved and expanded upon. The position is needed to support department-wide projects. We do not have anybody exclusively dedicated to that work in Parks and Recreation, considering its size. And in terms of the position, it was the most appropriate for that department's configurations. There's a multitude of coordination in the department in terms of recreational coordinators, both in the Parks Maintenance Division as well as in the Recreation Division.
Good evening again. I can speak to the conversion versus the promotion. So we're taking an existing FTE and we're converting it into a coordinator position. It probably will feel like a promotion, but in the world of human resources and employment, This is not a position that this incumbent will be promoting into. He will take that position with them, and we will convert it to a coordinator. We can't have two administrative assistants in one department, as that is a violation of our AFSCME union contract for having more than one confidential person reporting to an administrator. So that's why she can't maintain that position.
Yeah. May I have a follow-up, Mr. Mayor?
Of course.
Well, MJ, I really appreciate it. While we are converting one position to another position, is her tasks are going to increase as a coordinator instead, or she will have similar tasks that she used to have? And because this space is very much after the description that I read, again, it's not a job description, but because the bullet points say what it's going to do, is someone that is going to be working very intensively on our agenda of equity and inclusion, for what I can read, because it's a lot of cultural and has to do a lot with ensure cultural competencies move to parks and recreation and put it together to the lens of children and families, among other things. So this person has to have certain qualifications in DEI in order to be able to fulfill this position.
No. So the purpose of DEI, I think, is all staff are capable and are qualified to do their jobs through that lens. That's why we've had 9 years of training. That's why we're trying to evolve and operationalize and build upon what Benita did leave behind. I think the staff have the capability, so they're not exclusively responsible. It's just we need to start consolidating our efforts around DEI for Parks and Recreation. They do an extensive amount of that work. It's just not compartmentalized or labeled as such. Just with recently the neighborhood program and the recreation division, we had a very successful Mooncake Festival, and we did it in collaboration with community members in order to coordinate that. We want to start quantifying that so we can start presenting that to council as well as to the public in terms of what Park Recreation's role and execution is around DEI. So it's not they are the exclusive subject matter. It is to quantify and start preparing and packaging that information so we can show our due diligence and effort within that department.
Thank you, Mitch.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have several questions, and one of them is in which I know Councilmember Albertson was already asked previously regarding the allocation. So from my understanding is that we just need to designate the overarching amount of 2.6 million as replace lost sector revenue. But as the breakdown, I see there is the $525,000 for food and rental. Is that is the thought process there for direct rental services, or what is the thought process there? Just curious. And then
It could be used for any form of human service. Right now, we know that there is a need of rental support as well as food support. And so I know that our human services division has been working with some of the local agencies to get funds out. And so they would continue with those efforts to be able to get some of these funds to those in need of the support.
And then on the same line, as far as, because it's ARPA fund, just to remind our council, we only allocated $600,000 to businesses only within the city of Renton, civic downtown area. I would like to see, if it were to be passed and just in discussion, to provide grants to small businesses. And I have another question. Is that okay? Unless someone else.
Yep. No, go ahead.
In terms of the American Rescue Plan ARPA funds, I know that we did allocate $10 million for city operations. And I know it's not part of the presentation, but because it aligns with ARPA, I would like to know kind of the breakdown of what was spent out of that 10 million, if we can do a follow-up of that. I'll ask after you.
Yes. Councilmember Rivera.
Thank you, Mayor Pavone. I have a question that was a bit inspired by Councilmember Perez. And when it comes to the equity manager position that's now being for lack of a better word, dissolved and reformulated into the senior human resources analyst position. And for my colleagues, I'm looking on page 15 of our presentation for Committee of the Whole. I see that the equity manager was slated to be making a little over $200,000, and the new senior human services resource analyst, who will be doing, from my understanding, a good portion of that work, is getting paid $163,000. And so I just wanted to understand a little bit better the reasoning behind that pay adjustment, because my concern is we are asking a lot of the senior human resource analyst when it comes to DEI, and it's a huge job. It's a lot of duties. And do we feel that 163,000 is an appropriate reflective amount for that?
Thank you for your question, Councilmember Rivera. Yes, I do. It's a senior analyst position, and it's at the top of the pay scale, honestly, and in other areas for human resource analysts. It's not at the same level as a manager, absolutely. I do believe, though, because of the kind of work that it will be doing, that it is adequately classified at the senior human resource analyst level.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Questions? Do you have a follow-up question, Councilmember Rivera?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I just have a follow-up. It is possible, do you think, that you can send me the job description of the position that it was in EEHS, and now the position that is going to be coordinator, the one that is converted?
So absolutely, I want to make sure I understand what you're asking for, the equity manager job description and the draft of...
Sorry. I want to convert the administrative assistant to the serve of Parks of Recreation coordinator. If I can have the job description and of the administrative assistant position that is going to be now serving as a Park and Recreation coordinator.
Absolutely. We can
Thank you.
get those drafts to you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. On one of the slides, I don't remember the page, I'm sorry, but the funding for human services funding, it was blank. I think it was a comparison with 2023 and 2024. So is I guess it could just be what I see. I mean, it's the 525, but then in the...
It was increasing 2023 to $525,000 with no increase to 2024, because what we were doing was reallocating that lost public sector revenue to human services.
So when passed, it would be just the 525
Yes.
for this year, because we have to do it this year. And then the 2024 would be zero.
Right. And the 525 is in addition to what we already have budgeted. Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Yes.
I'd just like to clarify that the 525 for human services funding is the one-time ARPA dollars. That is not the standard budget. We're spending it all in, well, we will have spent it all in 2023, and that takes that available fund down to zero, but that does not affect the budget for 2024. We still have a budget for 2024. It's just not these one-time dollars.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. My question is in regards to how the city has a clear definition for the role of housing. I think I understand, and I just want to have a clarifying question. With the reorganization that we're going through at this moment, will we see a better definition of the city's role when it comes to housing and our role when it comes to like developing a housing, affordable housing, rental protections, things like that? I know in terms of like a positional role is what I mean. Like not like a general definition. We know what housing is, but I mean the definition of the role within the city. Will that be made a little bit clearer?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. For the record, my name is Vanessa Dolby. I'm the Interim Community and Economic Development Administrator. So thank you for your question. What we will be doing is moving housing into the planning division of CED. And if you've been watching the legislature over the last couple of years, there's been a lot of state law changes that have really driven housing into the planning world and realm. And so by bringing these two positions into planning, we're able to align the efforts that are already happening in our planning division with the partnerships that we've built through the housing division in EHHS, bring it underneath one director with a common vision so that we can go ahead and work with that tool basket of all of our housing tools, work through our regulatory requirements, our partnerships, and then hopefully also advance additional development in affordable housing across the spectrum. And that means 0 to 120 AMI.
I love
Yep.
clarifying that.
Thank you. Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman
thank you.
Perez.
In the conversion of the community development and housing manager to senior planner, the salary of the housing program manager was 170,237. Now, as a senior planner, it's going to be 162,812. This is a decrease in salary. Is this person okay with that?
The position that would be converted is not the position, it is the housing programs manager. The housing manager position is we currently have a staff person in that as an acting position. So the housing program manager position to senior analyst would be more of a lateral.
I'm reading it from the memo that you sent, and the memo say they convert the community development and housing manager to senior planner. That's what it says, the memo. And I'm checking both in the presentation, both of the difference, and I see that one is 170,000 and the other one is 162.
You are correct. It's written that way in the document, but what's really going to happen is that we're going to convert the housing program manager position to a senior planner position. It's actually a small bump in the salary. And the funds that are right now allocated to the economic development program manager will be used to fund the planning technician and go back into the general fund, I would surmise, yes. It's reversed. I know it's reversed in the document.
Okay.
That's absolutely, you're absolutely right. It is reversed in the document.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yes, Council President.
My question relates to our housing action plan that we just published. How is that action plan going to be implemented given the new legislation and given these changes? Has that just become shelfware or is it still actionable?
Thank you, Council President O'Halloran. The Housing Action Plan is definitely still actionable. We do need to take a look at some of the action policies in there. I believe when we finish implementing a number of the changes that happened at the state, which will take the next year to 2 years to implement based on their requirements for adoption, there will be a number of items in there that we will check off very easily, just if nothing else because of a mandate from the state. And once we get through our comprehensive plan update, as well as some of those standards, we'll be able to revisit that plan and see what's left in there to actually still advance. And I believe there will still be some line items in there that we can take on and tackle and be able to accomplish.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Councilmember Van.
Sorry, you're up. Sorry, I should. Thank you so much. In terms of the housing question that Councilman Rivera was asking you, when you mentioned 0 to whatever income affordable, I like to look into attainable housing. So I would like to know, is there any vision in working to build out our unsheltered population to have shelter? For example, like a homeless task force or because I think this is long overdue. And I'm concerned with the reorganization that we're leaving people out again. And it's important whether it's not structural, but it's a combination of structural and the substantive part of it. And so.
So the Human Services Division has worked with what is housing currently in EHHS as well as in community economic development. We don't have a task force. We will be completing our human services assessment and we will recognize the housing action plan that was created since that assessment was not done since 2014. We also are still members and are very closely working with King County Regional Homeless Authority. We also just recently executed a few contracts that will assist us in navigating and connecting unhoused individuals with resources. So right now we're still developing what is our specific need in Renton, as well as making sure we are leveraging our partnerships with our funded providers that we fund through Human Services, as well as continuing to monitor and seeing where we can establish a better connection with the Renton Housing Authority.
Thank you. Before we keep going, I want to remind our council that we have to stay on our topic, which is the budget. All good conversations, but we kind of need to stay within our guardrails here. Do we have another question?
Can I clarify a question with you, Mr. Mayor, on that?
Yeah.
I know it's a budget, but is the reorganization's a part of that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making, so I do have a question. That cool?
Yes.
Just looking to be recognized, Mr. Mayor. So when, I know we asked this before in committee of the whole, and I just want, I guess, a little bit more of a structure, or kind of a more candid answer. When we're looking at coordinating with HR and the executive office and the commission when it comes to equity, and how are we going to be capturing those equity efforts in terms of like hard quantitative data? Will that be like a online dashboard or kind of an interdepartmental team, or what is that going to kind of like the hard and fast of it on paper, rubber to road look like?
Christy Rowland, Deputy CAO and Executive Services Administrator. I'll speak just to the Equity Commission piece as far as how we'll quantify. There will be reporting after every meeting and summarized through the mayor's office about a communication about what we heard, the questions we received, and what if we made any changes from the staffing side, or if there's a response to the questions that were posed. So that will be a regular communication from our office to your office, probably through our council president. And I'll have Ellen speak to the HR.
Thank you. All right. In terms of the human resources, human resources analyst for DEI, that position will collect data in terms of our demographics of our employee population. I mean, really, the senior analyst is looking internally and working with our employee population. We'll have partnerships outside of in our community, but it's primarily for employment. And we currently do have some dashboards that we're working on with IT. We will constantly update those. We will get those to the point where any department can click on their department just to see instantly how they're doing in terms of their demographics. And we not only track race and ethnicity, but we track age and gender. And so all of those will be tangible items that we can look at. Of course, we will always track how many training sessions that we offer. We always ask for input from those training sessions, and we can always provide those in terms of how that's being received. And then we will know anecdotally how it is working in terms of the number of complaints and things that my office processes, which is why it makes so much sense for this position to be housed in human resources, because we do have all of the resources that we need to implement our programs. The public-facing document that you will likely see is our HR Tactical Inclusion Plan, which is about the entire city in terms of our employment and our initiatives.
I look forward to seeing that plan. And thank you so much for that answer. That was very exhaustive.
Yeah.
Right. Have we wrapped up any questions, or we can certainly email staff with further questions. So
Hey, Mr. Mayor.
yes, Council President O'Halloran.
Hearing none, I move that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Council President O'Halloran, second by Councilmember Prince, that we close the public hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right. Public hearing is closed, and I want to thank staff for sticking around and answering all those questions, and appreciate your being here. So next up is the administrative report.
All right, good evening, everyone. The city's annual Truck or Treat Halloween drive-through will be on Friday, October 20th at Renton Community Center, with a sensory session from 5 to 5:45 p.m. and the main event kicking off at 6 p.m. Come in costume and ready for fun. Registration is required to participate at rentonwa.gov/register using the keyword treat. Join us on the third Saturday of each month for a free museum day at the Renton History Museum when no entrance fee is required. This month, the free museum day is October 21st from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Renton History Museum offers changing exhibits, programs, publications, and events to share Renton's stories past and present. Information about preventative street maintenance, traffic impact projects, and road closures happening this week can be found at rentonwa.gov/traffic. All projects are weather permitting unless otherwise noted. Streets will always remain open.
Right, thank you. Next up is audience comment. We do have some people signed up to speak. When I call your name, please approach the podium, give your name, city of residence, and the topic you'll be discussing. You'll have 3 minutes to address the council, and there's a timer right in front of you, and it'll go from green when it's about time to run out. So, is Jack Seal.
Good evening, Council. My name is Jack Skeel, and it's been many years since I've stood here in front of you. I came here today to talk about Longacre's DIY skate spot on Longacres Drive under 405. We've been discussing as a group with WSDOT for the last 5 or 6 years about leasing the land in order to keep our skate park around. After multiple years, lots of money, and countless meetings, we finally received an approved airspace lease from WSDOT for a skate park to be built and reside on that property. Shortly after receiving the final draft, WSDOT put our lease application on hold due to upcoming construction on the bridge that was surrounding the skate park. That was all the way back in 2019. We've had a lot of rough years between 2020 and now. But now the construction is nearing completion in the next few months. I came here today to ask for your guys' help. I came here to ask that if the city of Renton would like to take hold of this park, sign the lease, and create its second city-sanctioned skate park. Renton is well overdue for a new skate park, and you already have one constructed for you. Imagine how much money I could save. Longacre Skate Spot is a dry, safe, friendly place for kids of all ages to escape the rain by having a covered place to practice their hobby, whether it's scooting, bike riding, whatever it may be. But we need your help to preserve the community and to preserve the space that has been created down there on Longacres Drive. If any of you listening would be interested in learning more, we would love to talk on a closer level. But all I came here to do was ask for your guys' help. So thank you, and long live Longacres.
All right, thank you. Make sure we have your information and we'll reach out, have a conversation with you down the road. Our skate park is beloved, and actually I think it's going in for repair here shortly. So, all right, next up is Diane Dobson.
Good evening, Administration, Renton City Council. I am Diane Dobson. I'm here on behalf of the Renton Chamber of Commerce as the CEO for the Chamber. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and so I draw your attention to the series that are being held again at the Renton Chamber. The first Tuesday, we worked with Project Be Free to deliver a presentation on understanding coercive control. Last week, we worked with Renton Police Department domestic violence advocate Tina Harris and Shell Hunsinger regarding domestic violence in our community from a system-based advocate. We have since connected them with multiple women's groups through the chamber that will serve as resources to help victims of domestic violence go through the court systems, recognizing that it's not just women that are victims of domestic violence. Those just happen to be the connections that occurred as a result. Tomorrow is Nancy and Josh Henkel from Success Martial Arts, which are putting on a presentation that is good for anyone, not just those experiencing domestic violence. We're focusing on securing your personal safety. Next week, we have 2 because of Halloween following the 5th week. So we have on October 24th on Tuesday, we have Marcy Wombold, Self-Discovery, Self-Defense, providing self-defense and domestic violence prevention and response. I think Councilmember Van was there last year for that approach in class. And then on the 26th, which is Thursday, we have Raider Tactical coming in with mindset and awareness, safety planning, and tactics, use of force. Each one of these series and events is increasing in attendance. We've had people at each of the each of the series thus far that have either been helped and saved out of their circumstance with the help of the domestic violence advocates and Project Be Free, and or have connected with them for future help and resource. So I've shared the flyer with the classes and series, would invite any of the council members to participate and or spread the word accordingly, and thank the city for your support of the Renton Police Department and the work that they are doing, especially doing with Project Be Free and providing that advocacy and resource for victims of domestic violence. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Next up is Josh Sulkind.
I believe he's virtual today, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, okay. Is Josh queued up?
I see he's coming online.
Okay.
there.
Yes.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, my name is John Sullivan. I'm the new director of the Renton Downtown Partnership, and just wanted to come on to introduce myself. We just came back from a Main Street Association conference and learned a lot of great ideas that we're looking forward to bringing to Renton. I've reached out to all of the city council members, just look forward to meeting, and just wanted to introduce myself and make myself available to meet whenever you'd like.
All right. Thank you. All right. Next up is Bob Baker.
Thank you, Council, for giving me this opportunity. My name is Bob Baker, and I am the co-chair for the citizen group Save the Cedar River. As most of you know, we are opposing and fighting an asphalt plant as well as an asphalt recycle facility to be built next to the Cedar River. This facility, the proposed site, is just a little over 1 mile from the city of Renton's city limits, as well as the wells that provide drinking water to the city of Renton, as well as portions of Seattle. We are going to court. We do not have a court date yet. That court, we're looking at probably the beginning to middle of summer of 2024, and that will be in the Washington State Court of Appeals. Contrary to Lakeside Industries, our experts conclude that if this plant is built, the Renton aquifer and wells will be greatly affected within 10 years. And that would be a huge expense and time loss to the city of Renton. As the pristine waters flow through the Cedar River plays a huge part in the city of Renton's past, present, and current economics. Can you imagine what this city would be like if this river dies? Think about that. You would have no salmon runs. You would have no family picnics on the river, no fishing, no Renton River days. Think of your poor little duckies trying to swim in sludge. And of course, your drinking water would be greatly affected. Today, I'm asking you to consider writing an amicus brief on our behalf and addressing it to the courts concerning this proposed economical and environmental danger. If you are not, is anybody unaware of what an amicus brief is? Okay, Mr. Albertson. An amicus brief is a brief that can be written by a citizen, a group, a municipality, anyone that is not directly involved, which means they're not a plaintiff or involved in the court case, and you have any insight or expertise or concerns to offer the court to assist them in making a decision. So basically, your financial stabilities and water would be very, very big concern that the city of Renton would have. So thank you very much for this opportunity. If you have any questions, I'm here right now, or you can always get a hold of me. You all know how to get a hold of me. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next up is the consent agenda. There are 11 items for council's consideration. Are there any that you would like pulled?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Councilman.
Hearing none, I move that the council approve the consent agenda as published.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Council President O'Halloran, seconded by Councilman Prince, that the council approve the consent agenda as published. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, motion carries. Next up is unfinished business, and I do not have my cheat sheet up here. I'll just wing it. Council President O'Halloran.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Councilmember McGurven.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Prince.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Perez.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Van.
No unfinished business.
Albertson.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Councilmember Rivera.
Yes, I do have one piece of unfinished business. The Community Services Committee has one report to present.
A Community Services Committee committee report, contract with Western Neon for Williams Avenue Public Art. The Community Services Committee concurs with the Staff and Arts Commission joint recommendation to approve the contract with Western Neon in the amount of $37,268.15 for the Williams Streetscape Improvement Project's public art component, and propose granting staff the authority to sign the agreement with the artist. This is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Rivera.
I move that the council concur with the committee report of the Community Services Committee as read.
Second.
Been moved by Councilmember Rivera, seconded by Councilmember Van, that the council concur with the Community Services Committee report. All in favor? Wait, first, is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, motion carries. Let's see, we are on to new business. Councilmember O'Halloran.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, on Monday, October the 23rd, 2023, at 5:45 p.m., the Committee of the Whole will be meeting here in council chambers and via video conference. We have one item on the agenda, and that is the Economic Development Update. And then on Monday, October 23, 2023, at 7 p.m., the regularly scheduled council meeting will be meeting here in council chambers and via video conference. And that is all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember McGurven.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Prince.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, on Monday, October 23rd at 4:45 p.m., the Planning and Development Committee will be meeting in the council conference room and by video conference. We have 4 items on the agenda. Docket 18, Group D, D231, Code Interpretations, 2021 Construction and Administrative Code with local amendments, Clean Economy Strategy, and Emerging Issues in CED. And that's all, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On Monday, October 23, 2023, at 2:45 p.m., the Finance Committee will meet in the Council Conference Room and also via video conference. We have 9 items on the agenda. First, agreement with Anchor QEA for the May Creek Park Master Plan. Second, renewal of Healthcare Management Administrators, HAM 2024. Third, approval of Kaiser Permanente healthcare premium rates for 2024. Fourth, renewal of Symetra stop loss coverage 2024. Fifth, renewal of Standard Life and Long-Term Disability LTD Insurance 2023. Sixth, 23 EMPG City of Renton award obligation, 7 interagency agreement between Washington Traffic Safety Commission and the City of Renton for the safer access to neighborhood destinations grant project, 8 vouchers, and 9 emerging issues in finance. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Van.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Public Safety Committee has a meeting on October 23rd, 2023, on Monday at 2 p.m. Location is at Council Conference Room or via video conference. We have 2 items on the agenda. It's 1, RFA briefing, and 2, emerging issues in public safety. And I also would like to, I know we've talked about this in terms of the amicus brief with the city attorney, but I'd like to ask our council to think about it. I motion to refer the matter of drafting an amicus brief to the city administration and to be bring back to council in about a month's time.
Second.
Okay, to clarify the motion, it's to, Jason, will you clarify that? Did you get it?
Draft an amicus brief to the administration to bring back to the council in about a month's time.
Is it to draft an amicus brief or is it to come back to discuss
That's what I was asking.
potential of drafting an amicus brief?
The motion is to draft an amicus brief, and I come to realize the month's time is probably short notice. Let me rephrase: to research and bring it back to council in a month's time.
Bring back information or the actual amicus brief?
To research about a potential of doing amicus, to research the potential of doing a amicus brief and bring back to full council in a month's time. And my apologies, Shane, I know that you have a lot of work, and we've had this discussion before.
Okay, the motion is on the floor that to be moved to council, that sent to the administration to research an amicus brief and bring it back to the council in a month's time. Discussion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Question for our city attorney as far as I don't necessarily have an issue with the motion itself. I think we should definitely explore that. It's more of a matter of mechanism. Would this fall under something that would be under potential litigation that would fall into an executive session for discussion versus doing it up here?
I would have to look at what the issues were, but off the top of my head, it likely would not be in an executive session.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, can I clarify? Did we get a second on the revised amendment?
Oh, we didn't. No.
I will second the revised
Okay.
amendment.
Yeah, I thought the second stood.
I assumed
Any
as well.
discussion? Any more discussion? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, motion carries. What is the wish of the council? Wait, no, we got 2 more people. Councilmember Albertson. Don't
leave me out. No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Councilmember Rivera.
Yeah, don't forget us. No new business, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, now what is the wish of the council?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Prince, second by Councilmember McGurven that we adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, we are